to our superintendent that what else can be done.
I think Dr. Cirillo is addressing it, if I may, just to jump in.
I'll buy you lunch tomorrow.
I thought you would say that, no. Like Lindbergh School, we're overcrowded at Lindbergh School. We have fifth grade classes with 28 and 29 students. And if you've been at Lindbergh School, you know those older classrooms in the older wing are much smaller. We have ESL students that we need more teachers to service them. They started at the kindergarten, bilingual Korean and bilingual Spanish. So many of the students, they test out. So now, you still have to support them because they might test out of the test of the access test, but you still have to support them. You cannot just put them in a class, so we need more, maybe
I don't
bilingual
want to cut you off, but
Lindbergh
that's what the
School.
diverse community means actually, and we all knows about it. We're about to put the referendum next year to passing so much money to and we're gonna toss to our taxpayer. And we have to show something that we are doing something extra other than that. We cannot just complain about our diversity all the time. We have to have some kind of hard results that, or we have to show the steps of these are the things that we're gonna work on it, and these are the interim results of whatever it is. Otherwise, how are you gonna pass our referendum?
Jason, if I could just say just a word, and I like where you're going with this, and when the gentleman was here tonight, and he was talking about the architect, you know, about the steps going through with the building, and we all want to improve our school. Everybody here wants to improve our school. And one of the things he said to us in one of the meetings with Mr. Jeffrey, who was with us, was that he would have discussions with the public, you know, meet with teachers, meet with the general public. And I'd just like to make a suggestion. I'm not an educator, okay, at all, believe me. But I go back to a time when my parents got involved in my school. They made sure I did my homework. And the point I'm trying to get is maybe down the road, when we have these meetings talking about the improvements of the school, to incorporate something like you just brought up, something might be to get the parents involved with the kids' education. Because I think a lot of times parents just drop off the kid and say, educate my kid, and I'll see you at 3:30.
And the
Kid
world
comes
is
home,
different.
remember, you gotta go to school tomorrow.
It's not the same.
Again, I come from that kind of thing where I was no genius, I can tell you, but my mother sat on me to make sure I did my homework when I come home. I was prepared for school in the morning. And I think these are some of the things, Jason, that you hit the nail on the head. When we talk to the parents about, you know, school improvements, try to get the parents involved. You know, maybe some letters.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that the task force can
Let me
do
just
it.
respond briefly. So I think what we have to remember here is that the true measure of student achievement in this case is growth. So not where our students are in terms of raw numbers, but the comparison of where they were last year to where they were this year. This is a long, slow journey, and it takes lots of resources. What we can do to combat this multifaceted problem is start to tackle small pieces. And eventually, these small pieces, when addressed appropriately and consistently, are going to support achievement. So for example, at the high school, attendance is a concern. Students aren't present. If they're missing instruction time, they're not performing. We've been tenacious from the start of the school year in making contact daily, by phone, in person, not a robocall, with these students who are tardy consistently, who are absent regularly. This is one small step towards increasing attendance, which will ultimately drive our achievement rate. We can't do it all at once. We have to divide and conquer here. That's really what we have to remember. And comparing ourselves to other similarly situated districts is the key. Not comparing ourselves to districts who have a lower socioeconomic disadvantage, or a lower transient population, or fewer ELL learners. We have to make sure that we're comparing ourselves to similarly situated districts where we can compare subgroup to subgroup, where we're achieving and where we need some more support. I think that's really critical. We're starting, and again, it's a long, slow process. As long as we're dedicated to continuing to support and consistently support will make growth. It won't happen overnight. By the time we get a handle on it, park might be gone. We don't really know.
But I'm sure
But we're
something
doing
else
what
will
we
be
can in the
found.
moment.
They'll have something else in its place.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Thank you.
So-
Stephanie?
Thank you.
Stephanie,
Stephanie.
hold on, Stephanie, you had something.
Stephanie,
had
raise your hand for a second.
Thank you. Actually, I was thinking for us to set up some kind of a number, like, I'm not saying like we're going to reach 80 tomorrow, but like adding 3 points
Set
for
a
each
target,
area.
a realistic, attainable,
Right.
achievable
So
target.
each year, you say we set up a target
Right.
to raise 3%
Right.
compared to the last year, and that has been achieved after the year. And when we say those things in a real, the proof, it will go really well. That way you can also encourage students, like, look, we have this clear evidence
Right.
that we've been growing 2% at a straight rate,
Right.
or 3%, whatever you said. And also, for the math part, I believe that Jason was a good math teacher for long, so he could
Maybe he
probably,
could provide us with some.
or even myself, if there's anything that we could,
Thank you.
And I really want, schools to invite us as a full adult, working in the board together, that we could go meet with the students and give them, because for the book reading time, I went into fifth graders class and sixth graders class. I enjoyed so much. I just shared my stories, and the kids were really like listening well, and those kind of like sessions, if you can make us to participate, that would be great.
Thank you.
Yes.
Paul?
Very much appreciated.
Absolutely.
I have a question here. Obviously, you know that the board doesn't macromanage what's going on, it's up to the superintendent. So this is a good opportunity to ask you a question. Now, you guys stated that there is a ESL or second language course support, and there's a Spanish and for the Koreans, is that correct?
Spanish and Korean.
Yes. Now, those teachers who teach the second language, ESL, are they Spanish or are they Korean?
They are both.
So whoever's teaching Spanish are Spanish ESL, and Koreans are Korean ESL.
Well,
For the most part. For the most part.
bilingual, you have to be.
Bilingual, you have to speak the native language. ESL, you're not supposed to teach it in the native language.
Right.
But then it's really easier to understand it and then learn it. Why can't you not explain that in your second language, in ESL?
So that is not truly ESL then.
No, like,
The nature of a class is a little different. Bilingual
I'm
class is
teaching
different.
English
than
by
ESL.
seeing
Same
ESL.
content, it's the pacing and delivery that vary.
but I feel it's difficult. I'm teaching English pro bono at my senior center, and I'm teaching the Koreans. So if they don't understand, I speak Korean to them, they're like, I understand it now. So
So you are not
That's not
actually
ESL.
teaching ESL class in that
Correct.
sense,
No,
you
no,
are
no.
teaching bilingual class.
Correct.
You're teaching a bilingual session.
Correct.
If you're teaching it in both
And
languages.
sometimes it's hard to explain, that's what I'm trying to say.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Also, when the state ascertains that a student is eligible to even be promoted from the ELL or ESL setting, it's ELL, by way of passing an access test, which is really not very difficult. Many children have passed, have been mainstreamed, for argument's sake, gen ed population, where they go cold turkey here. You gotta figure it out, and it's not easy for them. They are still not proficient at the native English language. I would venture to say, and again, and I genuinely will take you up on this task force idea.
Thank you.
I think we need to make this up of community members, teachers, parents, and board members. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Jason, this is what I will leave you with, and again, we all know what Palisades Park looks like. We do. It's beautiful duplexes. There are beautiful homes here. There are many apartment buildings. Without generalizing, without getting into subgroups and profiling one versus the other, we also have, as we see, a very diverse population by way of socioeconomic, by way of, again, parents going home, not being able to help their children with homework. Okay? So when we are eligible for after-school programs like we do have, so that fourth grader can have somewhere to go after school and not be home alone potentially. I think it's a credit to our type of education system. And the growth, unfortunately, it's not gonna be there overnight. It's gonna be a
No,
long-term commitment that we have to keep on chipping away at it. But I will tell you this much. When I go to the state and they identify us and they say, here is $60,000, fix it. as much as everyone thinks we can just throw money at the problem, $60,000 is not enough. Unfortunately, sometimes I can be outspoken, and I said to the state, when they are 14 years old and have a second grade education,
What do you want me to do?
$60,000 is not going to work. We need to go to their native countries and teach them at the second grade to catch them up to speed. But when they're coming here and now they're 14, we can't put them in the second grade. Social promotion, because they can become a threat to themselves, to others, excuse me. But the issue there becomes, you're doing them an injustice. How can you put a 14-year-old in the second grade, or how do you promote them to the 7th or 8th grade without 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th?
But how are you going to explain that to the public that who do not understand that kind of moral?
So this is what we're doing. We're identifying those children, one by one, which pains me. We are literally identifying them, and we are creating plans for each and every one of them, because they might not have an IEP, which is an individualized education plan. And we're creating potentially what the next 5 years of their life looks like. And Jason, if we don't do that, guess what? We're losing them. And the bigger problem becomes even when we do it, they don't come back. Because for them, some of them, again, I don't want to stereotype, working a good hard day and helping mom and dad pay the rent is more important than an education, unfortunately. Hence, 14 years old, second grade education. We can't change that overnight. That's a whole cultural shift that we have to address. And if we keep on focusing on the positive, great experiences of the children going to Bergen Community College, taking 2 years and going to Rutgers, and walking out with a degree, and getting a job with the Palisades Park schools, and offering them an opportunity to share their story, like Stephanie said. Programs like the alumni program that started at the high school a couple of years ago, let their peers who live the same life come back and share their experiences. Because I know at this point in their life, a couple $100 a week is pretty good. But it's going to be a couple $100 a week for the rest of their lives without an education. They don't get that right now.
I'd like to say you did an excellent job in the presentation and the analysis. I loved it. If I were to ask you, like, if you could come up with a wish list that you would like us to provide for you, whether it be through additional aids in the classroom, smaller classrooms, like you said, could you come up with a list of 10?
Absolutely.
And that maybe we could start chipping away and supplying you with. Because I know our teachers are phenomenal, and you are doing an excellent job. I commend you both. But we need more, and I think that's what we're saying. We will supply you with what you need. You need the tools to make your program.
Are you going to fund that, Dr. Murray?
I hope so. I hope so.
Is it possible that in the budget, if you can look at, see if we can get more textbooks? I've noticed that, I know everything's online that day and age, but kids come home, my nephew, I speak for my nephew, and he's got a math problem, he doesn't know where to go. Sometimes you can't find it on the internet. All right, Marion tells him, see the teacher in the morning, which he does, she tries to explain to him. But I don't understand, I've grown up in the grammar school and high school in Hoboken, we always had textbooks, I mean, every subject had a book. Is there any way we can go back to some of these books that students can, I know you're looking at them because he doesn't budget.
Updated ones.
Textbooks are
I didn't do the budget right.
We are really getting more away from, the hard.
I understand that, but,
Everything is
you know,
online.
when you have a
It's
textbook
more
and they give you example of what, maybe it's different numbers, but like in math especially, you see a problem, and you look at it and say, oh, wait a minute, this is something similar to this, oh, this is the way they did it, oh, I can do it this way, and with the number. I think a student can learn better that way than just go buying it online. Well, I'm
So
both factors, so.
we don't disagree that textbooks, that the type of conversation might need to be revisited. We don't disagree.
I would appreciate it if you did.
However, we are also exploring some alternative platforms that give students feedback, for example, in real time. So rather than referencing just a textbook, they're getting that same content from the textbook, but they're also able to enter information into a real-time learning platform and receive feedback immediately. So I think that's a key. I don't think it's a conversation that should be discounted. I think the right decisions have to be made. I think we have to explore all potential options, make sure that we're making a choice that is sustainable, fiscally responsible. We don't want to choose a textbook, for example, that is just park aligned, because what happens when Park's not here anymore?
Right, no.
So we have to make a really, really careful decision. We're talking about a huge investment in terms of textbooks. I fully support investing in textbooks, if that is the platform that's going to be sustainable for a longer term, fiscally responsible, and also provide that same valuable feedback in real time that students need. So while a textbook can't necessarily provide that feedback,
Right.
that same content can be provided via a different learning platform.
Okay, all right.
Exactly.
I appreciate you looking into it, thank you.
You guys did a great presentation.
Thank you very much.
And the fact that they matched was impressive. I didn't get that memo.
You might have said Trent, now I gotta call John in the morning, see what he's wearing.
Thank you very much. At this time, let's go make a motion into audience participation.
I make a motion.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Please limit yourselves to 3 minutes, please, as per our policy 9322, and state your name.
Melissa Lombardo.
Thank you.
It's that time of the year for the soldiers' letters, and I need your permission to do that.
120%.
Thank you.
Yes.
I will send you the letter and flyer to approve it. Because we
Grade
also,
levels are you targeting?
all 3 schools.
All grades.
And I'm also doing the packaged items
Very
for
nice.
them. If anyone knows of anybody who's serving overseas, contact me, because I could always send them. That's what we did last year. Somebody reached out to me. We got 2 addresses and sent 4 boxes out to Afghanistan directly.
Thank you for taking the lead with that again.
So, yep, every year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience? Yes.
I just would like to make a comment to Mr. Kim's point about people, whether they have children in the school system now or in the past, and make remarks about our school system and our students, and maybe thinking that we're not up to par to other communities. How many people in this room, not on the board, are not teachers or not employed by the Board of Education? One. Where are all the parents, Mr. Kim?
That's the problem.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
You have teachers, they're working, and they're working above and beyond, and as an aside, they're not getting paid properly for it, but that's another issue. But we need full community cooperation, and that includes the parents of our children who go to the school. Now, yes, I understand people work hard, people work late at night. The world that we live in is very challenging and very different. But our children need more than just that 8 to 3 environment. And for some of our kids, they're in after-school programs till 4 and 5 and 6 o'clock. We need to get the community involved. Now, I'm not saying it so that parents show up to the next board meeting and start bombarding with questions all of a sudden that they may not have answers to. But this was a perfect evening to come and listen and look and ask your questions. And the majority of the people in this room are employees or past employees of the school district. Our parents of our babies are not here to ask questions, and they're not here to learn. So that's where you need to focus.
But this is the reality that we are living in now.
I'm saying, yes,
And
we
they are
have
the
to
ones
bring
who
them
pay
in.
the tax, and we have to listen to whatever they said.
Correct, and I pay my taxes
And
just like you.
whatever we can, we try to do it.
Yes.
And I'm out of ideas, that's why I'm pushing the Joe.
Yeah,
And let's have, as Dr. Majaraja said, let's find some list. Or like Stephanie said, let's find out, let's define the goal. Or let's publicize all the good things that we are doing it.
yeah.
There are things that we should do, maybe we didn't look yet. So let's find it and let's promote that. So in the way we can help out the referendum next year, or help out our parents have a more confidence about our education system. But maybe we are not publicizing enough, you know? Maybe there is something else we didn't think about before. So that's what I'm trying to say. So let's do something about promoting our education.
I'm
Or
not
pushing our-
disagreeing with you at
unfortunately-
all, I'm just saying it was
I
a
know what
part,
you meant,
a
yeah.
part of the
Sure, I know
whole
what you
process that needs to be drawn in, because I agree with you. We should definitely promote the wonderful things that we're doing and draw everybody in to see what we are doing and the improvements that are being done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's a nationwide problem with the parental involvement, and I can tell you right now, I'll go back to the 1980s with my first dissertation on parental involvement in American education, and it was a problem back then, but we need a solution, and you're totally right. And I agree that we have to start doing something to let them know the positive trends that we are going towards. And we have the talent, as I said, we have excellent administrators, teachers, aides, and I think we need more of that. Again, I know it costs money, and I wish we would have passed the budgets every year to get more. Unfortunately, other people thought differently.
Now, I have a question. We hit the nail on the head right now concerning parental involvement. Has a teacher tried during, like, for example, events such as parent-teacher conference, approach parents to express our concerns concerning parents' involvement? Have you guys tried that, or
Very much so.
All the time.
you guys all the time? You're like, yeah, okay, whatever.
No, so for the record, we do get very large attendance at most of our elementary functions. I think part of the problem becomes the language barriers, number one. And I think the lack of educational experience where people, I think at times, and I could just speak from my experiences, feel almost intimidated to come into our schools to work and talk to us because they don't feel up to that same standard.
But language barrier is something you could fix.
We're trying.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
not-
I'm accused
it's not
of
rocket
being a
science.
prejudice when I don't hire the Hispanics and the Koreans.
No, you don't have to, during
Who
those
should I
certain
hire?
moments, you don't have to hire someone just for that moment. You could actually get a group going who's bilingual, who are.
Absolutely
who do
right.
pro bono
Service,
work,
pro
service or
bono.
something like that. I mean, that's something.
I'm not finding too many people that want to work for free anymore. If you know them,
Call
get
me.
them.
I got it next time then. I'll participate.
So he's gonna pay for the new wing, you're gonna get.
I'm not gonna spend any money, but I'll do pro bono work. Seriously, I'm dead serious, Doctor.
Let's start paying on time to teach us what they deserve.
All right, thank you. Anyone else in the audience? Yes.
Just one question, Joe Spalazzo. I've been coming to these meetings now for a couple of months. Just lying, couple dozen years.
Decades.
And one question, are these meetings listed on the school's website?
Yes,
They should be.
yes.
I've never seen it, that's why I'm saying I've looked and I couldn't find it, but I
I'm gonna check
believe
when
you,
the meeting's
that's why I
over.
wanted to find out, because there are no parents. Never has been for the last 10 years. Like I say, I've been working in this system for almost 25 years. And I'm the person that used to set up all the chairs and everything and get the rooms ready. And we used to set up 40 to 50 sets of seats for parents. Jesus, I can't remember the last time we set up 30,
Joe,
except
is
for
the
maybe tonight.
community the same now as it was 20, 25 years ago?
But
I
The
mean,
faces are different, but yes, it's
But
the
the
same
cycles
People
are
community.
care about their
the
kids.
cycles are same.
They
They're all
care about their
community. We have the same problem.
Joe, it was different then. We had a
No, well-
lot of parent involvement back then.
Well,
Yeah, but
we
back
do that.
then you
It's
had a
not
lot
Most
of-
parents don't have to work 2 and 3 jobs. and
They,
that's what
I'm
we
saying,
consider.
that's what I was just
Back
gonna
when the
say,
kids were doing
the
that,
social
some of the
economic,
immigrants who were before here.
the parents was, you know, my father went to work, my mother stayed with us.
Yeah, right,
my whole
exactly.
life.
Yeah.
My children, I went to work, my wife stayed home with my children. My wife was on a PTA for how many years?
Right, I remember, yeah,
Kids are in school for 12 years, my wife was on a PTA for 14.
right.
So, you know, I don't know what we can do, but it's like, I understand it. But Bergen County is a wonderful place to live,
Yeah,
but it costs you every cent that's in your pocket.
that's right.
So I do understand, but we have to try and reach out, like you
Yeah.
were saying, we have to try and get parents here.
For me, the whole year, this has been the most productive meeting for me. I mean, I came to realization, it was a great presentation, and I see the problem, but it's not like something, oh my gosh, what can we do? I mean, we could really work on it. I feel very optimistic about it. We all try. I mean, seriously, great ideas. Hope this continues. These kind of meetings. Yeah.
Thank you. I believe we have to go into closed session, so,
No formal action coming out.
No? Can we have a motion to close audience participation?
I make a motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.